Welcome, friends, to Dog Grooming Unleashed. We are Leigh and Michelle Caluneo. Our mission is to create a safe, welcoming space for dog groomers and pet lovers to come together to learn, laugh, and feel supported. So join us as we build a community where pet parents and groomers can come together. We also want to help groomers grow in their skills, share their struggles, and feel connected to others in the industry. So get ready to learn and laugh. We're so excited to have you here.
And bringing us that dog twice a year. That dog is going to have a hard time being in our environment, getting the real deal of grooming with real equipment. And they're not used to it because mom doesn't do that at home.
Maybe desensitizing at a young age would have helped. A Pomeranian will fill my entire shop with an undercoat. They're like a fur explosion. They require monthly to at least 6 weeks grooming.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you it's a coat that's going to require grooming at least every 4 to 6 weeks. There's maintenance in between. You have to become good at brushing your Shih Tzu, and they'll say,
and combing.
Don't want to brush my dog. Well, then maybe a pug. And then bring him to me every 4 weeks to control the shedding. And this topic was fantastic, and it's going to be a wonderful pre-gaming topic to our next episode, which is about grooming difficult dogs and why it's not always the dog breed, right? It's not always breed specific.
Let's hit it. Welcome to episode 2, season 2. You finally picked the cutest puppy in the world, but do you know what that coat's going to cost you?
I do. This is a conversation that most groomers wish that they could have with pet parents before they bring their dog home. It's important. This is important stuff. Why every pet parent should consult with their groomer or find their groomer before they get their dog. We got some good stuff to share here. You got your list, Michelle?
Look at all my things. Are you ready? Step 1, call your groomer. Tell her you're thinking about getting a 150-pound doodle and see what we think.
Yeah. What is this going to cost? How much time is this groom going to take for this dog? How often do I bring the dog to the groomer? Your groomer is going to require a schedule for most any breed. Are you prepared to fulfill that? Financially, the maintenance at home, certain coats, right, Michelle, are going to require a lot more maintenance at home. Or you're looking at a dog that gets shaved down every 6 to 8 weeks, and that may not be what you want.
Yes.
So we want to help you get what you want.
We want to help you. This episode's about us talking to you about any questions you can ask or things you can look into before getting a new puppy. They're so easy to pick up. They're so adorable and cute. We know we've done it. Okay. So we've been there with you, and you just don't know sometimes how much grooming that dog is going to need. And it's because we've had these conversations with people where they just really didn't have any idea. And now they're spending an arm and a leg for grooming, especially those big ones.
Big ones or dogs that have a lot of coat. Even a medium-sized dog that has a lot of coat and requires a lot of grooming. It's going to cost money. We don't price our dogs by small, medium, and large.
Right.
It's small, medium, large, coat type, trim type.
Time.
Yeah, absolutely. So we want to help people. And I'll be honest, Michelle, before I was a groomer, I got dogs just because they were cute. I had
100%.
no idea
100%.
what was, and learned the hard way. I got schooled by groomers. He's coming back in 6 weeks. 6 weeks? Really? I can't just let this go? No, you can't let it go.
No. And I love talking breeds, obviously, right? I love to imitate like every single dog breed out there. Although someone today asked me to imitate a dog, and I didn't even know what it was. I don't even know what it is now. I didn't remember, but they were like, "Can you do a skippity doo dah?" And I was like, "What?" And I looked it up, and it wasn't like an AKC dog, which made me feel a little bit better. It was recognized by like the world something else. But so I felt a little bit better. But
it
I was like,
common.
It wasn't common. But I think I love talking breeds, and I know Amy does too. And that's really associated directly with coat types. Even like a Pomeranian. I think sometimes people get little tiny Pomeranians and don't realize how much those little nuggets are going to shed. A Pomeranian will fill my entire shop with an undercoat. Just those tiny, they're like 8 to 10 pounds. They're like a fur explosion. So they require monthly to at least to 6 weeks grooming.
Yeah, I wouldn't do a call unless it's 6 weeks for me, because even that 8 week, if you stretch it to 8 weeks, we're talking a good bit more undercoat, and it's a lot of work for a petite little dog as we're trying to
Yes.
safely encourage that undercoat to come out. This dog is a petite little dog, and you can't say, well, technically Pomeranians don't get a haircut. Well, they actually do get some light trimming, and
Yes,
that's
they
usually
do.
done by hand,
You
not with
want
a
to trim up
clipper.
that back end. Yep. Otherwise, there's going to be all kinds of turds stuck in there. So you
Yeah.
want to get that clean. Yep. Their
So
pads of their
clients may
feet.
look at a Pomeranian and think, well, it's just a bath and shaving the paw pads. It's not going to be a big deal for grooming, but it actually takes oftentimes more time to groom a Pomeranian and a Shih Tzu, who's the same size dog. The
Yes.
Pomeranian may take longer. Usually it does.
And the cleanup.
And then there's that. Good
Yep.
point.
There's a lot more cleanup. So that's something that I really consider too in my pricing. If I'm going to groom a husky, there's the other end. Everybody wants huskies, right? They're beautiful. There's an overabundance of huskies where I live. They're
Yeah.
everywhere. A lot of them are in shelters. You see them running around in packs and stuff, well, not really where I live, but in the Houston area, we have a big stray dog problem.
They're
And a lot of them
strays. Yeah.
are huskies. Those coats are difficult to maintain if you're not doing regular grooming. They need to be brushed all the time. That undercoat needs to be pulled out. You don't want to leave that there. And if you're worried about shedding, I probably wouldn't
Mhm.
consider a husky. And so
Yeah.
they're gonna leave a lot of fur in your house. I mean, I have huskies that I groom once a month,
Mhm.
and they will fill up my entire shop and they fill up their owners' homes. But
Every
we do
time,
that. Yep,
every
every
month.
time.
They're a shedder. They're not going to stop shedding, but you are maintaining it by having them every 4 weeks. That speaks to the topic that we're talking about today, guys. Huskies are wonderful breeds. We love how vocalized they are, and they almost can talk. I mean, and they're
Yes.
fun dogs. There's no doubt about it. But if you're considering a husky, honestly, that's an expensive groom. The groomer is going to want to see that husky about every 4 to 6 weeks, and they're not going to give you much more leeway on that time, about every
Mhm.
4 to 6 weeks. So, are you prepared to pay $200 every 4 to 6 weeks? What would you charge for a husky, Michelle?
About 150.
Yeah.
Round there between it depend. Sometimes they're small and skinnier,
Mhm.
but if it was a husky that was really giving me a hard time, I mean, maybe even a little bit more. I mean, we're talking
Mhm.
a lot of times they take a good hour or more to blow dry.
I
And
usually
then,
would schedule 2 hours with a husky.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, after the bath, which is always fun. And like on a side note, when we talk about primarily we're talking about grooming today, but also I just want to touch base a little bit. Like when you're picking a breed, you also really want to make sure that you're picking a breed that fits your family and your lifestyle. So my fun fact, since we just happen to be talking about huskies, is that a Siberian husky can run over 100 miles a day pulling a sled. They rarely get tired because of their incredible endurance. So I just want to note that.
Put
That
that into perspective with a dog
put
that
that
you're
in
about ready to
perspective.
put on your couch. He ain't going to stay
Yes.
on your couch.
They're going to be irritable. They're going to be chewing on things. They're going to be breaking out of the yard. Every next door app here it's always huskies. It's always like, who's huskies
Anybody
out?
seen my husky? Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yes.
God love them. They're
Oh,
gentle
me too.
giants. They
Yes.
really are. But we don't want them to get hurt, but we
I
also
have
want them
one.
to. Yeah, you do.
I mean, he's not a purebred, but I have a husky who has a lot of
Yeah.
husky traits. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a very enjoyable dog. Your groomer can help you make lifestyle choices too. Is this the right dog for my lifestyle?
Yes.
And then we can also obviously talk about what are the coat requirements. And I think that you should all be calling your groomer. And if you don't have a groomer yet, find the groomer before you get the dog and have the conversation with a groomer you trust. Ask your neighbor who loves their groomer, where do you take your dog? And there's your first lead. Call that
Yes.
groomer and have the conversation. Say, what is the level of coat care for this breed? What are you going to require me to do if I'm your client and I have a husky? How often is this dog going to have to be groomed? What is it going to cost me per grooming session? So that you can make the commitment before you make the commitment to the dog. Once you make that commitment to the dog, if you find you're struggling to pay the grooming bills or, gosh, food, guys, for a husky, I have
Yeah.
two large dogs, two standard
A
sized
lot
dogs.
of food.
I have a lot of food. It's a major expense. I do feed my dogs the farmer's dog. It's expensive,
Yeah. It's expensive. Yeah.
but they're big. If they were little, I have schnauzers too that I co-own with my mom. They eat the farmer's dog too. Well, theirs is a lot cheaper than my two big dogs. I know I'm not going to feed my dog junk food. I'm going to feed them good food. I'm going to take care of the grooming needs. What does that cost me every month? And am I committed? Well, for my guys, grooming can't be put off any more than 6 weeks for my two dogs.
Right.
4 to 5 weeks is the sweet spot. So
I
if I
agree. 4 to 5 weeks is really the sweet spot. 6 weeks is too long sometimes for not all, dog breeds, but mostly poodle breeds. I think that I like to see them. I mean, I groom my Shih Tzu. She gets a bath every week, and
yeah.
I groom her probably every 4 weeks. And that's, yeah.
My boys, they get a bath in between. They have to, or
Mhm.
I'm going to be dealing with some matting. The bath
Exactly.
conditioner blowout keeps them from being matted. And there's something else you may have to have if you're getting a poodle or a doodle. You may have to have that intermediate bath and blow dry and brush out and a full groom in 6 weeks. That
Yeah.
may be required because you may not be able to keep the dog brushed out well enough that they're not going to mat. So your groomer, having these conversations with your groomer before you commit to getting that expensive dog that costs money. It costs money to provide a healthy life for the dog. You should really have those conversations with groomers. And groomers, I hope that maybe you'll put together little cheat sheets for your clients, just coat type. What is the coat care level? So when they call and say, I'm getting a Shih Tzu, what can you tell me about this? What am I up
Yeah.
against grooming? Well, I can tell you it's a coat that's going to require grooming at least every 4 to 6 weeks. There's maintenance in between. You have to become
Yes.
good at brushing your Shih Tzu, and they'll say,
And
well, I don't,
combing because
yeah,
they're
I
married.
don't want to brush my dog. Well, then maybe a pug.
Yeah.
Okay. And then bring them to me every 4 weeks to control the shedding and,
Yes.
rejuvenate skin and coat, but whatever. And groomers, you can have your little list. How often would that Shih Tzu need to come in? Shih Tzu, I want to see it every 6 weeks.
Mhm.
And the cost is $75 so that you can tell these people right away when they're calling you what they're up against if they're choosing to get that awesome little Shih Tzu that
Yes.
their neighbor has a litter of puppies or whatever,
And
and
you
what
want
is
those
the
cute, adorable cuts. So a lot of people will come in and they say, "Oh, I want my dog to look like Daisy." And then I'll tell them that she gets a bath once a week and that I groom her once a month. And I would be happy to
yeah,
make little Molly look like Daisy. I would love to do that. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just, it's how much you want to be here. I have a Bichon that comes every 2 weeks. We do bath, then we
mhm,
do groom. Like we just go back and forth. And little
mhm.
Benji has a beautiful coat. And I've really gotten better on my Bichon grooms. They're tough. So
Oh, it's a tough one. Yeah,
it's a tough. So
we
I'm
like a
certainly.
challenge though.
I love a challenge, so that's
Yeah,
why when she first came to me, and I was like, yes, I would love. And so even on his bath days, I just work on him, like just as always.
yeah,
So I
you're just
finally,
always tuning it up.
yeah,
Yeah,
finally figured it all out. So yeah, that's been, and so that for me has been pretty awesome. But yeah, I mean, I think you get these dogs, and so you have to take a lot of things in consideration. It's their coat, and it's also, is it the right dog breed for you? Your Siberian Huskies, Golden Retrievers, these are all, these double coated dogs, German Shepherds. They're big, and they're going to require a lot of brushing to get that undercoat out, and they're also going to require regular professional grooming. If you're not really into that, or you don't necessarily you want to try to groom at home, we think all dogs should get professional grooming, so we'll never say that they don't. All dogs benefit from it, whether it's just a nail trim and a conditioning treatment, shampoo.
yeah,
I see all dogs in my shop. I have a pug that comes regularly. I have lots of Frenchies that
yeah.
come regularly, and the amount of fur I get off of them, and but it also helps really desensitize them, and so that's what's really important too.
That is very important. You said, hey, look, I think all dogs should be professionally groomed. And
Yeah.
I want to back that up a little bit and say why I agree with you on that. I do think that pet owners that are willing to learn proper methods can handle their dogs if they have
100%.
if they have the right setup, the
If they
right
really,
tools,
yeah.
and they know the proper methods and techniques for grooming. They have to
Yes.
understand. You can't learn that by grooming one dog every 6 weeks. Us
Yeah.
groomers groom 6 to 7 dogs every day. So we're very good at what we do. And we also had the proper training before we opened the doors. So But here's the thing, what we don't want. We don't want you thinking you're handling the grooming at home when you're clearly not.
Right.
And bringing us that dog twice a year. That dog is going to have a hard time being in our environment, getting the real deal of grooming with real equipment. And they're not used to it because mom doesn't do that at home. And so you only bring the dog to us twice a year. We're not going to Most groomers are not going to be willing to take care of you. We need that commitment from you and the dog. We need to build trust with the dog. We know the grooming methods that your dog needs, and you probably don't.
Well, and a lot of times I will get phone calls that I just got one the other day. I have this dog. She's a couple years old. We have huge issues with nail trims. So this is a dog that's a couple years old. And so I started asking questions. She said, oh, like she poops and pees all over the table. Like this has gotten so out of control, you know? And nobody ever expects that. I've always just trimmed my dogs and cats' nails, and that's never been a problem for me, you know? And so, but not everybody feels that way. A lot of people don't want to touch nails, you know. Well,
Yeah.
now the quicks are completely overgrown and you try to cut these nails and you can't even. So I have like a Frenchie that she brings to me and I just do a bath and, you know, all the other things, but I can't. And you know what? And I've said this before, if we can't trim their nails, chances are the vet can't either. So I'll always say, like, it's getting dangerous. I don't want them to hurt themselves. She's really trying, whether this one will try to bite. I mean, really bad. I mean, she just wants to get out of this situation so bad. And she's good for everything. But the moment I touch her feet, I'll forget it. And so maybe desensitizing at a young age would have helped. Sometimes it doesn't. You know, I never want pet owners to feel too bad, right? Because sometimes it wouldn't have mattered.
That's
You know,
not what we're trying to do. We're just trying
yeah.
to be very real.
Yes.
Set your dog up for success right away.
Yes.
If we don't see a dog for their first professional groom until they're 6 to 8 months old, we're already wasting precious time desensitizing the dog because the grooming requirements are much less as the dog is smaller and still has puppy coat. It's a shorter grooming process, and each grooming session is training for the dog and teaching them that they can trust us, they can trust the tools, and we're giving them small doses of tools.
Yeah.
Not when they're 6 to 8 months old and they're kind of matted. Now they're getting a huge dose of every tool.
Yeah, I mean, they don't know what's going on. Everything's new and they're puppies, right? How about when you first trim puppies and they always eat their hair or their
Oh,
fur?
yeah.
All puppies do this, guys. Like the moment you start clipping hair off of them, they will instantly try eating it. And so it's such a puppy thing to do. It's really cute.
My standard poodle's 10 months old and he still does it. I have to keep him up on the if he gets too much leeway on the table, he's eating all the hair. I'm like, oh,
stop.
No, please stop. You're making me want to throw up.
The little pug I just posted, he'll try to eat the cotton balls that I put in his ears. And she's like, he'll eat anything. Like, and so like
Pugs
literally,
will.
I'm like, oh God, I'm like, no, you know, so
Yeah.
dogs are fun.
Oh, they're great.
Yeah.
I think the message that, we're trying to help people understand is we support you. As groomers, we support you. We want to be part of helping you make the right decision when you're getting a dog. And if you're considering getting a dog, guys, leave a comment and we can explain to you in the comments how often the dog should be groomed, how often you should do home brushing or possibly bathing, and what it's going to cost you. Demographics do vary.
Yeah.
But what is it going to cost you? What would we charge if we groomed your husky that you're considering getting? And as they're puppies, the groom will be a little cheaper when they're puppies, and then they're 4, 6, 8 months old, and then they get their adult coat, and now it's game on. So
that's a good point. It will get more expensive. The other thing I wanted to mention too, like, there's all different dog groups too. So if you're interested in a hound, you say you want a dachshund or a bloodhound, something like that. Yeah. So those dogs aren't going to require, as much brushing. They're still going to need regular grooming for nail trims and coat conditioning. They have usually those big floppy ears. I have a dachshund that I groom a short-haired little dachshund named Pearl that she comes once a month, but mostly just for like, I paint her nails and we do
But she gets a bath and a condition.
But man, her coat looks amazing. And so like, it is so important. And so so if you love hounds, hey, they're stubborn though, I will tell you, do your research. So if you're thinking you just want to get yourself a real pretty coon hound because they're beautiful, yes, they are. But make sure
cool dogs.
They're so cool. But make sure that you're looking into the breed and seeing if that breed is really good for you. Same with, a sporting dog, right?
Yeah.
Like that's your Cocker Spaniel, your Weimaraner, Irish Setter, English Setter, Lab, Golden Retriever. Like those dogs are going to have a lot of energy. They're going to need to be exercised regularly.
And their nose to the ground. They will
Yes.
track something. So, practice your recall activities with a dog that, even my poodle, he's a tracker.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
got to practice recall. He'll just run off in the woods,
Yeah,
following his nose.
absolutely. Yeah. They got things to do. They got places to go.
And they got instincts. They do. I want to take the time to say this real quick, guys. Don't think because you may be getting a short-haired breed, like a short-haired dachshund,
Mhm.
or even a pug or a Boston Terrier, do not think that your dog will not benefit from an every 4 to 6 week grooming appointment for their whole
Yes.
lives. I just want to bring this up real quick. If you guys go and do the statistics and run the numbers on dogs that most commonly have skin irritation, dry, flaky, red, itchy skin, it will be diagnosed as allergies a lot, but it's
Yes.
not always allergies. It's their
What's your
skin.
number one though? Let's say it at the same time. 3, 2, 1.
What's the
What's the number one though that's going to have skin problems?
It's
We'll say
any short-haired breed.
I was Frenchies though. It's always
Frenchies, and
Frenchies.
their coat is this long.
Yes,
The coat's designed to protect the skin. They don't have much protecting their skin.
exactly.
And if you don't protect the coat by cleaning it, think of it like changing the oil in your car, changing the filter and the oil. If you don't bathe and condition short-haired breeds, they are going to have flare-ups where they're itchy, where they're
Yeah.
flaky, because disruption there with their skin because their coat wasn't rejuvenated, which is protecting their skin. And if
Yes.
you go to the vets are going to tell you 9 times out of 10, the dogs with allergies are either heavy shedding breeds who don't get groomed regularly
Yes.
and short haired breeds who don't get groomed regularly. That's the problem. Grooming is a necessity for all breeds, guys. So don't think
Yes.
that any dog you could be considering does not need to see a groomer regularly, because they do if
They
you
do.
want them to be healthy.
Yes. That pug that I groom has horrible. That poor little thing actually went into anaphylaxis for one of his vaccines. Like he has just horrible allergies. The poor thing. I can't even get his head wet anymore
Mm.
but wait during the groom. So I use BioGroom makes a waterless shampoo, which I mean
Hmm.
I'm sure like so we back to I do cotton balls in the ears. We use waterless shampoo on his face and I use a soft cloth and I clean all the creases and clean his face the best I can. And then when I bathe him, it's from here back. And I
Yeah.
won't even, so we can't even, we're at the point where we can't even get water on his head because the ear infections. And, I mean,
Too
so
risky.
we've done it. We've kind of gone back and forth where I'm like, all right, this time we'll wash, his head, but we'll do the cotton balls. It's like, it's not enough. And then he got another ear infection. That poor little nugget. So that's another example of just dogs with allergies, these little short haired. Every Frenchie I've ever groomed though, and every Frenchie I've ever known, they all have skin problems. I don't have a single Frenchie that's ever come to me that doesn't
And
have.
English bulldogs, and that's more due to
Yes.
that they do produce a lot of oil and they have a lot
Mhm.
of wrinkles, and that oil sits in the dark wrinkles.
Yeah.
And that's what causes a lot of problems for English bulldogs. And you'll notice your pugs, even your Shih Tzus, your Pekingese that have that real smushy face, their wrinkle, that tight
Yes.
wrinkle, if they have a real tight, hard wrinkle right there at the nose, you're going to find oftentimes that you're battling a skin irritation in that wrinkle at home. And sometimes it's a battle. It's good and then it's not good. It's good and then it's not good. There again, routine bathing and conditioning can keep all that in check. All that.
If you're looking, I think a lot of people think with grooming, they think Shih Tzu, they think Maltese, Pekingese Pomeranian, these little guys, getting a dog like that, you think grooming and you know that it's going to cost you anywhere between 75 and maybe, 125 just for those little nuggets, every 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks. And that's the real life kind of just putting it out there. That's what the cost is. And that's what you should
Yeah.
expect. And that you're going to be grooming regularly the whole duration of this dog's
Yeah.
life. So it's not something you can even cut out. It's not negotiable. You have to do this.
Flip side of that is if you don't commit to the grooming when you get the dog, that's fine. Vet bills are a whole lot more expensive than grooming bills. And you're going to find that don't have your dog on a regular schedule with a groomer,
Yeah.
regardless of the breed. You are going to have more cost in vet bills.
Yeah.
There is no doubt about it, for skin and coat issues, ear issues, all the things.
And if you think you can't afford it, then you don't have to get a dog. Nobody's forcing anyone to get a dog. And so that's what frustrates me too. People kind of just be collecting animals and you don't have to
They
do
do.
this. And that's the thing too. Sometimes I'll have people that'll bring me, a little dog and then now they've gotten a second dog and this dog's bigger and this dog's
Uh-huh.
going to cost more. Well, now your grooming just went from $100 every 6 weeks to $350, right? Or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you got this giant dog that needs to come even more.
Can you financially commit to that?
Just like
You
the
have to
food and the
ask.
vet bills and the training and everything else, it's a
Mhm.
lot.
And the food. Food's
And the
expensive
food.
too. Food's
Yes.
expensive too. And don't cut corners. It all goes to health. I know everybody loves the company of dogs. And I'm not saying that only certain people should have dogs. It's just, are you ready to make the commitment? The real commitment.
Yeah.
Grooming needs, buy good food, routine vet checkups, all the things, and exercise. Are you willing to do all those things? I think that dogs are the best therapy in the world for anybody. So
They sure
I'm
are.
down with it.
And that's where it's like maybe try to get something that's less maintenance. In a time where
Smaller.
there's a poodle doodle boom right now. Everybody wants a something poo. And so I think that's probably the thing we should wrap it up with at the end, talking about the poodles and the doodles, because that's mostly what gets brought to us.
Mhm.
And they probably are on not the most expensive, but on the more expensive end of grooming.
Absolutely. They
So
are.
don't get one of these breeds if you don't want to commit to all the grooming. Maybe go with a little dachshund or
Sure.
something else that's going to be a little terrier. Some of the little terriers, their
Or
fur
if
doesn't grow as
some
fast.
people like dogs with coat,
Mhm.
it's like a little stuffed animal. So, maybe a Maltese, maybe a Bichon. And yes, there's still grooming requirements
Yeah,
every 4 to 6 weeks. That's going to go from $75 for the small dog all the
yeah,
way up to 200 and more for the
yeah.
golden doodle every 6 weeks.
And they're not hypoallergenic. I think that that's like a misleading. Often everybody thinks that their dogs are hypoallergenic, and then they're doing D-sheds on them at the shop. So
Yeah,
it's
I
a thing
know.
too. It's a big. Some dogs will have more hair,
Yeah,
and some dogs will have more fur that sheds. But no dog is hypoallergenic. So
right.
but definitely want to look into that and breed types and what type of coat you're getting, what's going to shed more, what's not going to, there's all those things you really want to look into. But when you're purchasing any kind of mixed breed dog, whether it's a golden doodle, labradoodle, schnoodle, whatever, you don't really know until that dog's an adult. And now you got what you got. You're in love with them and you're not going to
Oh,
send them
yeah.
back because,
Now you're committed to the dog.
yeah,
And you've
not going
got
to be
to
like,
follow up on the other commitments, and you have to make sacrifices. People say, I can't afford grooming every 6 weeks. I can't afford good food for my dog. I know we are all on specific budgets. We all have different requirements of us financially, guys. All of
yeah,
us do. But what I can tell you is if you really dig deep and see how you live and what you spend your money on, there is always something that can be cut to offer a better life to your dog, like better food and
yeah.
grooming. There is something always that can be cut.
And I have some of the best customers that like will come in and be like, I don't even go to the hair salon anymore, but my dogs get groomed. Like, you know what I mean? And so of course I love them. They're wonderful. Like,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
and that just goes to what we're talking about right here. Yeah, I will put my hair off because I can, but
Yeah.
I won't put off my dog's
No.
grooming. That's
No.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, do you
Yeah.
have any final closing thoughts, Michelle, on
Yeah,
this
I mean,
topic?
leave us messages. If you're a pet parent here and you're thinking about getting another dog or your first dog, certainly chime in and we'd love to hear your questions. My thing always too is like I love when my customers come to me and they're like, we're thinking about getting a second dog. I love helping them in the direction of getting a second dog because I'm so obsessed with breeds too. And so I'll be like, all
Yeah.
right, you got two
And
little
excited
kids.
for them that they're
Yeah.
actually planning for this. They're
Yes.
thinking about it.
So when they come to me and they're like, we're thinking about getting a golden retriever. And I was like, yes, like you know what I mean? Like, I'm so excited. I think that would be perfect for your family. You have a beagle. I think your beagle would do great with a golden retriever. I know this
Yeah.
beagle. Like, I know this beagle's lovely and has a great temperament, does good with other dogs. You're going to bring a puppy in, you got little kids. So we love all that. And so we love when you come and talk to us. But if you don't already have a dog and you're considering one, start looking for breeders locally in your area and give them a call and talk about, ask them about their prices, cost. If you're going to the shelter and adopting a dog, they might not have as much insight on grooming. Right. And sometimes the breeders do and sometimes they don't. It just depends on, what breeder you're talking to. So, but a lot of breeders, good breeders, will have a lot of great insight on grooming and what
Yeah,
they
a lot
need.
of good breeders will. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you so much on that guys, give your groomer a call. So if you're thinking about getting that doodle or whatever, and trust me, I love them. I love to groom them too. I love to work with them, but I'm going to charge you. Talk to your groomer and say, I found this doodle. He's at the shelter. He's 75, 80 pounds. This is a picture of him so that groomer can see the coat type. We can tell by looking at a picture. Is that more of a poodle coat? Is it more of like a
drop coat?
A drop coat? Yeah, we can wiry coat. We can see. So talk to your groomer and find out, what is this going to cost you? How often should you have this dog groomed? And what is the lifestyle? Are you going to be taking the dog hiking? Let the groomer know these things so they can give you accurate assessments of the grooming cost. If you do go hiking and boating and swimming and all the things, you may want to keep them in a shorter trim year round. So a 6-week grooming schedule will be fine.
Right.
We're doing a 3/8 inch guard comb or a 1/4 inch guard comb.
And exactly. And I have a lot of doodles that we just do that. I have some, they have gorgeous, beautiful, fluffy column legs. They come to me more often and I scissor them gorgeously. They're beautiful and they just run around my shop looking like a majestic horse, and then I have other ones that just look like skinny little things because we just keep that coat real tight and short.
Clean.
That's what works for the family. And
so they don't get matted and dirty. Yeah. And that's why when we do these beautiful pillared legs and everything, groomers, we love to do that. But we do know within a week of them back home living their normal life, their coat's a mess.
Yeah. And to brush it.
Yeah.
It's expensive stuff.
Yeah.
So it all depends on what you want and how much time you want to spend brushing and at the grooming shop. So, but we love all dogs and we love to talk about them and see them at our shop, but they're all different. Their temperaments are different, their personalities, what they need and from you as far as exercise. Some dogs are a little more aloof and just kind of do their own thing. A Shiba Inu isn't going to be usually like in your face wanting to sit on your lap all the time, where a Shih Tzu is going to be literally attached to you.
And
so
licking. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, but they're all different, but yeah, definitely. I think that, this was a great topic. Just, if anything, just really letting people to talk to their groomers and encouraging groomers to be open and welcoming to these conversations with pet owners.
That's part of the message we're trying to share today is, be prepared, groomers, to have a little idea of what you would charge for a Shih Tzu, what you charge for a large golden doodle, what you charge for a standard poodle, cocker spaniel, and how often you want to see them.
Yes.
4 to 6 weeks, So have that, answer those questions for people so that we can build a partnership with pet parents and the dogs and the groomer. That's what we want to do. This topic was fantastic, and it's going to be a wonderful pre-gaming topic to our next episode, which is about grooming difficult dogs and why it's not always the dog breed, right? It's not always breed specific. And don't forget to leave a comment in the description here. We will answer you. What breed do you have? How often should they be groomed? And what typically would that cost? We can answer those questions for you too.
Yes.
It's a general answer.
Yeah. Also, we want you to just be nice to us. So we want you to say that this was the best podcast you've ever listened to and that you love us and that Amy's hair looks fabulous and Michelle's skin's glowing because I used retinol last night. Okay. So we just want it. So so if it looks a little red,
it looks great.
But we just want to hear from you guys. We just want you to tell us all the things. And if it's negative, it's okay. It'll boost things. So if you got something, not too bad. Maybe like, oh, I don't like your fingernail polish. And I'll be like, okay,
fine. We are here for you guys. That's why we're doing this. We're building a community together, a safe place to have these conversations. So just remember that Michelle and we have plenty going on aside from what we are doing here together for you guys. We have plenty. We're fine.
Sure do.
We're doing everything we want to do already. We decided to do this to help you and to just bring a bigger voice with pet parents and groomers together for the pets.
Until next time.
Yeah. Till next time.
All right. Bye.
Bye, guys.
That wraps up today's episode of Dog Grooming Unleashed. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. We are truly grateful to have you as part of our Unleashed community. Don't forget, we drop new episodes every Monday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So grab your coffee or your clippers and hang out with us again, my friend, next week. If today's conversation made you laugh, taught you something new, or just made you feel seen as a groomer or a pet enthusiast, please take a second to like, subscribe, and share this episode with a friend. And we'd love to hear from you. Drop your thoughts, questions, or even your funniest grooming moments in the comments. We might just feature your story or question in the next episode. And we can't wait to keep learning, laughing, and growing right alongside of you. Stay kind, stay curious, and keep grooming from your heart.